It is Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM. Really looking forward to catching up with our next guest. For our listeners around the Donald area in our Flow family, your local MP in Victorian Parliament is Louise Staley. Also, the Shadow Treasurer, we should say. And we welcome her to the program, the member for Ripon, first time on. Louise, welcome back to Country Viewpoint.
Oh, it's great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on, and I wish we had you on under better circumstances, but gee whiz, we've got a bit to talk about. Day 4 of a 5-day lockdown of the entire state. This is going to have unbelievably dire consequences socially and economically. I'm sure you're aware of them. Let's work our way through them. We'll start with economically as the Shadow Treasurer. This is a disaster for Victorian business and employers and employees.
Victorian employers and small businesses were given 12 hours for lockdown, and that happened to be Valentine's Day and the start of the Lunar New Year. So we had many businesses. For florists, Valentine's Day is a quarter of their profit. For Chinese restaurants, it's the day you buy in all the seafood and all the really gourmet things for the Chinese and Vietnamese communities to celebrate their New Year. We're hearing $100 million worth of spoilage in flowers, food, all that sort of thing. On top of that, a lot of people who couldn't get married last year because of the lockdown, they saw that this year Valentine's Day was on a Sunday, and so they booked weddings. An indication of how poorly advised or really how out of touch the Premier is. He got asked about florists and Valentine's Day, and he said that he chuckled and said, we don't celebrate that in our household, so no, I didn't consider that. The whole industry has just been brought to their knees by his decision, and he didn't consider it. It's just not good enough.
It's not. This is a man completely out of touch with reality at the moment. I watched with interest too, Louise, and I wanted to ask your comments, or get some comments from you on this. I watched a press conference where he basically, Dan Andrews, squared off with Lee Sales from the ABC, and she asked him some very relevant questions, I thought, and he flippantly replied to most of them. But in particular, he talks consistently, Dan, about the health advice that he's receiving regarding lockdowns, but nothing at all about any sort of health or economic advice around the implications of his decisions on the rest of the Victorian public. What do you make of that?
Well, I'd start with the health advice. He always says that he follows the health advice, but he refuses to release any of it. So how can we know? And there's been a few examples over the month where when Brett Sutton has been asked specifically if he called for a certain action, he said no, he didn't. And so I'm not sure that we can have faith that it is all on the health advice. You would hope that it is. I saw that interview yesterday as well, or Lee asking the Premier's questions at a press conference. And I thought she made a really good point that he did not answer, which was if he really does have confidence in the contact tracing and the hotel quarantine, why on so few cases has he felt the entire state has been locked down?
It's a good question to ask, and it's a shame it didn't get answered. Louise Staley, the member for Ripon, joining us here on Country Viewpoint today. We've got more with Louise in the next hour. Before we get to that, though, more of the songs you love from Katrina Burgoyne. That's coming up after this.